We're starting to feel and look good at the bottom of the clippeth. Way less negative attacks from the astral planes, a lot of higher heavenly magic coming through, and it's like solid and grounded and stable. And what else? So I got my activation. The giraffe head popping through my head and going all the way up. And I could feel it from the bottom of the clippeth. And I could see the hooves and the legs. And it's like, yeah, now I'm at least a Hufflepuff. I'm at least a Hufflepuff at the bottom of the clippeth. That's pretty good. And it reminds us. So we're gonna do some healings and activations so that by our initiation, maybe we can cook that giraffe at the bottom of the clippeth into a griffin. And that would be the most appropriate. So close your eyes. I know this is like a fake activation, but maybe we're gonna open that up. And allow the Kundalini energy from the base of your spine as you're sitting as grounded in the pillar of severity as possible. Pop through your head. It should feel like white light coming through and a bit marshmallowy. And you should feel the solidness of the hooves at your feet and your hands. Remember, the totem for the giraffe was that you could step on the muggles and you could step on the snakes. And you could feed from higher sources. You didn't have to step on the muggles or snakes, but you can if you need to. And it's cooked out of the snake brain, so there's none of that Slytherin rhetoric going on. And maybe we paint on the tan spots on the body. And it's kind of back to mellow yellow again here at Gryffindor. After 6 to 9 months of just warfare, in the astral planes, in the mind, perhaps in your home, in society. It brings you back to a sense of peace and wholeness. And it's back to a space of humbling. Oh, I'm just a Hufflepuffer at the bottom of the clip. Again, it takes the edge off that pride. Because you're supposed to be above that. Supposed to be. And you'll feel the marshmallow melts beneath your legs and your feet. Now we have about 200 worlds beneath us still. They're compressed. We call them micro worlds. So like, whereas a world would be seen like this before, now they'll be like this. And we're gonna have to write an entire new GNOME book for Gryffindor. So everything, all the lessons you learned. So you don't need it to get your ANR marks, the second book, but the second book is required as part of the Seraphim and Griffin materia. Now, these gnomes, I'm going to be GNOME not connecting to earth in a good, healthy way. GNOME not connecting to water element. GNOME not connecting to air element. GNOME not connecting to fire element. GNOME not connecting to ether element. And then GNOME not connecting to spirit goo element, and all the other elements that we have been continuously bringing up. Then GNOME not connecting to water bending element, water bending, earth bending element, GNOME not connecting to air bending element, GNOME not connecting to fire bending element. And then I'll have another set. GNOME not mastering earth element. GNOME not mastering water element. Mastering and study, deep study. Then there will be a GNOME not having proper genetic mutations. GNOME not clearing out the knife rape in even lower worlds with the cobra acid or the cobra acid gas. GNOME. So these are still gnomes. They're micro. they're the same. They're the same gnomes. There may be way more of them now that you're starting to become a griffin. And then it goes GNOME not transmuting and cooking out the rest of my snake tail all the way through into a griffin. GNOME not purifying my marshmallow giraffe self into a firebird or firebird lion griffin. What were the other ones that were important? GNOME not mastering the moonbeam charm. GNOME not mastering cobra acid charm. GNOME not mastering Vereda serum charm. me not mastering Khaleesi charm, where I go all dragon fiery and like bend the knee. Okay. So there are some very deep teachings that are simple and clear that needed to come through. Know me not having healthier boundaries and mastering healthy boundaries. And then you'll start to see a lot of those blue and red-hatted gnomes. Maybe you have some yellow ones. Maybe you're like a Hufflepuffer. Maybe they have cobra acid green hats on and pink. It's just, the normal Kabbalah gnomes are usually red and blue hats. If you're a griffin, but that's not always the case. Some of them have specialty assignments. So like the gnomes that are like masters of scheduling might have like a pale blue hat. So they might be part of different tribes. What else did I want to add? So I'm going to do an entire new book with those gnomes written out. That will not be on my book that I present to the populace. I'll scan through it for the Hufflepuff Cook. Because for the Hufflepuff Cook, it's more about making sure that you are doing your responsibilities and you're doing your proper Slytherin purification. Whereas when you're doing it for Gryffindor, it's more about the mastery of the disciplines at hand instead of human behavioral corrections. Because when you're in Gryffindor, you have less human behavioral corrections because you've done all your ANR mark work. And you did the work prior when you were doing Hufflepuff. Okay. Now, if you have, and then I have one more Nomi set, which is making sure I don't not do the Nomi transmutations with the giraffe at least 3 cycles below. Because this is a demon in hell 3 planet, or was. So I'm going to make sure I have a 3 pattern cycle of the same pattern of my lower self mutates into giraffe through the astral planes, and then I go lower and I get the gnomes, and then they start to purify into dragon fire and GEBURAH, and then I go lower, and then it's the giraffe with the gnomes, with the purification and cooking out deeper snake tail, etc., and then one more round. And then if I have to do another round of that by 3, and then maybe that by 3, and then we've definitely mastered the Demon in Hell 3 conundrum. So that's how you get out of the Demon in Hell traps. So you'll also begin to notice as you're at the bottom of the Clippeth and you're walking on your gnomes, that it's fine. It's the magic. They're like frequencies. Try not to like step on them. But you'll notice that you're fertile. You're magically fertile because you're at the bottom of the Clippeth and you're emanating this like light. And then you're going to step outside of your own home, around the city, and you're going to notice that all the energy around everyone else is dead. Because you went through extreme processes to get where you're at. So This is why Isis is the goddess of fertility. So it's a magic fertility, and so is Hathor, and so is Osiris. So it brings the light frequencies all the way through at a microcosmic level in the deep, deep, deep cellular recesses of existence. Somebody's saying I belong to a parallel reality sitting at the bottom of the Klipith, and I go, mirror. So if I'm at the bottom of the Klipith, I'm actually at the space of primal creation. You guys exist in a parallel reality, not being at the bottom of the Klipith. Because you haven't hit Earthstar, and then you didn't dig into Earthstar. Or maybe you've hit Earthstar, and that's where you stayed. So know that Osiris is the king of the underworld, because the underworld is where all the magic. It's like knowing that the food that you eat comes from having the best soil. So when you're working with the underworld, you know that that is the best soil to produce the best magic. And the dragons are fully aware of that. That's why the dragons are the keepers of the lower worlds instead of the higher worlds. Like, what are we going to do in the higher worlds? More space travel all day long in our brains while we're like out of our bodies all day long, thinking we're some kind of crazy magical robot that is dependent on technology. Okay, so like Pandora is never getting created without all the lower world transmutations. Now, if you're doing 8th house nexa work, if you're on 8th house nexa assignments, you need to do 3 Nomi books for Mother Earth as well. And it will be about creating the Mother Ewa system in the roots of Earth, the magical systems. And we're going to build out the templates for what's appropriate and what's not, but we will be making sure that the neural wiring of the planet's root system is properly firing to create love. Anything else? When you get, so Rava still has knife rape. Because I'm so used to working with Rava in the higher planes that, because I'm always receiving the downloads, but when I'm bringing her to the bottom of the Klipith, it feels still knife rapery. So when you're working with some of these higher galactic forces, you need to do either the Nomi books, or you're going to need to do their pages, their Aura book pages. And that's also more 8th house nexa work. And we're going to talk about that deeper down the line when you guys stay in the class. But that's how you get to say that you're going to stay, that you're staying here. Or that you're part of the 8th house, like you do the work. Then you get to join in. Oh, you don't do the 8th house nexa work? Like, bye. Bye. We'll see what planet you get to live on in the future. So it will be a requirement at Sora for anyone above the wheel that they're doing some kind of 8th house nexa work. So they learn from when they are a child and then grow into it. All right. The spells, the shells, the ANR Lotus. ANR Rose Lotus. Okay, so the spells, we kind of just did a spell. We're doing more anti-Slytherin snake tail cookout. Because we don't know how deep that goes. Oh, that was the other gnome. Gnomey not digging deep enough that I've cooked out my snake tail all the way. That I don't want Slytherin energy anymore. That's not netsuck. That doesn't mean netsuck. It means like I don't want any Slytherin DNA in any world. Not anymore. I used to have a lot more reverence for Slytherin because it's an important stepping stone to get into the higher worlds, and it takes you, it's divine in a way that it takes you from the robot muggle existence into the natural. But I've gone through too much, and I've seen too much Slytherin in my life through lifetimes, and it's just not. It's nothing. So Hermione is all about not Slytherin. Not Slytherin in the lower worlds 27 times over. That. 3 times over. 3 times over. 3 times over. Okay. So we're gonna open that space up, and we're gonna pour the honey goo through all the gnomes. And it might be, if it feels like tar. So through those are micro worlds. And we make sure that that deeper Hufflepuff gets a good clean. We're not in a rush to go, oh, Gryffindor lava charm. Like, there's a alchemy to do the good Hufflepuff work first. So you'll feel that beneath your home. Beneath your feet. This journey has been more than I could ever imagine. That's why when you get to Dragon, It's breaking from the known and really like opening to adventure and now time. And I can feel the dragon fire beneath my feet. And they're coming in to help purify. I really like Velka as the master archetype for Khaleesi, because that's really who Khaleesi is, or Kali, or Tiamat is Velka. She understands that the dragons, these loving, deep, wise creatures. She's also like no nonsense. There's nothing like getting the dragon fire to start purifying your brain from the bottom of the Clippeth level. And then you can feel how real they are. And it's intimidating. And then you realize how gentle they actually are. Unless you mess with them. Or you think you're like... Unless you're a Slither. Don't be a Slytherin against a dragon. That's just asking for it in life. That's the Slytherin arrogance, though. Is like they're asking for it by being a dragon, so I'm gonna stab them. Yeah, so that's how Slytherin is. It's pretty bad. Okay. On our home, we're getting this like anti-Slytherin charm running through. We're gonna ask for a fertilization, and it might actually look like dragon shit. Believe me, it might. I'm gonna ask for a fertilization charm so that we're always accessing deeper, more fertile magical grounds, but we're also able to produce that for others and other parts of the world. Lucifer says it's just Repello squibbed him, but then there's other stuff added to it. It's like Repello squibbed him, but with like the tentacles latching onto Earth and then also latching onto earthworms and And then you'll see a dung beetle here or there, or a June bug. And then we're going to put the fertilization charm on the city. And then the yolk beneath, the lower worlds. I'm adding pockets of air bubbles of self to leave my body. Or transmute. And then we're going to do a fertilization charm on the Hufflepuff yolk. Then we'll do it in the air of the world. Right now. And then we do the lower part of that Hufflepuff yolk for the fertilization charm. And then we're going to spray the cobra acid through the air to begin to purify weird thought forms on the world shell. To eat through ghosts or entities. And this is why we have that Gryffindor gas. To eat through psychic attack or knife rape or other gross. It's the color of the flu network magic. Man. People associate that color with evil instead of, because that's the color of like Maleficent's magic, but it's just cobra acid charm. So it's a magic to burn cords and purify toxicity. It's a cleaning agent. Just perhaps why it works for the flu network magic. Because you're cutting the cords from your current location and then flying into another one. That might be a cool grid down the road. Also the color of the witch's magic and stardust. Maleficent's fine. I don't care with the witch and stardust. And you're like, why is her? So still cutting cords, people. So I would paint your home tower with all the bricks and coat it in that cobra acid charm. And see if you can get a really clean cord cutting on everything. And then through the ceilings and the floors. That cobra acid won't eat through the Gryffindor brick. Unless and then Lucifer says, yeah, it will if the Gryffindor brick is polluted. You usually should be like the sword of Gryffindor. What doesn't kill it makes it stronger. Or it will take in that which makes it stronger. Okay. Let's go Repello Muggle time. So let's bring in that marshmallowy plus white goo marshmallow into your home. We should put it on the city oak. In the lower worlds of the city oak. So many people are starting to go, Khaleesi's insignificant. I'm going to be just as good as her. And that's correct. So I'm just Hermione. I'm the leader. I'm a psycho for setting the boundaries. That once you get past the boundary and you're good and solid, you have creative liberty. I want this to be a planet where we're a bunch of masters that are insanely brilliant, talented, original. Okay. Like a thriving ecosystem of awesome people. So creativity begins at Netzach, and GEBURAH is above creativity. So they're immensely creative. The ANR protocols and all of that is just to get above all of your junk. It's like Misty Copeland's ability to be creative in her dance and performance ascends into limitlessness when she spends all day doing push-ups and sit-ups and pliés and releves and eleves, etc., etc., etc. So all this conditioning gives her the ability to become a master. And that's what we're doing when we're writing page, another page. Brick. But it's crucio on the brain when we're doing it because it feels awful. Feels sterile. I don't want to eat healthy. I want McDonald's because that tastes yummy. Instead of learning how to become a 5-star chef. Okay. And then we go Repello Muggletum on the Hufflepuff yoke. And then on the world shell. All right. Now we got the world shell. The innards of the planet around the world shell. We're making the planet non-muggly. And then we're going to pour in the Repellum Squibtum. It's gonna look like spiders and red jellyfish and red octopus. And then we're going to do Repello Squibtum on the city yoke. And this one's easier. It starts to go through. Somebody's asking, can we put the ANR halos through the city yoke? The onks that turn into angel, the halo packs and the wings. Yeah. I'm in Hackney in London, and I walk past some people, and they're kind of terrifying. And I send them, I put the onk at their chest and open up their angel wings. They go, that's better. Then I see it start to emanate light. And they usually then, at that point, they have a sense of gratitude that they emanate towards you. Thank you. But they have this, like, shell of, I'm going to eat you kind of reality. So I call them parachute packs. And you'll see like these parachutes with the onks, with the onk necklaces, with packages that they're to deliver to people. They also come with Hufflepuff bodysuits for people that need their upgrades, and we'll talk about that in the Hufflepuff ANR bodysuits. That will be coming out in the next couple months, and it will be posted underneath Yoda and underneath Tinkerbell. Okay. So the next, we're going to do Repello Squibtum on the Hufflepuff yoke. And with that Repello Muggletum yoke, that really helped set the foundation to start doing faster magic. And when you pour the Repello Squibtum, it just starts to flow. All right. And then we do the repellosquiptum on the planet. Make sure you have a good repellomugultum on the planet still. Maybe it's sunk to the bottom and we need to do another coat. It looks like it sunk to the bottom. Looks like we're starting to get through some of the black magic traps on this planet. So we'll do a couple more onks, parachute packs of onks in the Hufflepuff. And then on the world. I'm hearing 50,000 more people just got ascendable. 50,000. So we're going to take that group of 50,000 and we're going to coat them with the Hufflepuff honey and throw those halos on them to start helping them cook out their snake brain. Halo packs. And what we do is we put them in like golden honeycomb eggs. Each person, we imagine that. And then we imagine their DNA spiking through the cells of those eggs, the honeycomb cells. And then through each honeycomb cell is an onk. And that DNA spikes through each onk. And that's the ANR symbol. That they're now stepping into the divine energy of life creation. And their DNA begins to weave around that. And then each of those onks with the DNA spiking through becomes a sunflower. And then we paint on a clear. Oh, you guys need some time to envision that. So now we put on a clear yellow liquid over the sunflowers. This is to help them establish a sense of mental discipline and mind control. Not mind to control. But yes, but it's like that thought is mine to control. Like I need to make sure that I can now control my own brain frequencies instead of have chaotic mind chatter all day long. So that's a Hode brain. And Hufflepuffer is like, I will master my brain and make it not sharp or edgy with knives or bullets. Now that's the other problem. And so we're gonna cover that next part. So we're going to coat them in the white cream over that egg, the yellow. That yellow goo, that clear yellow goo, creates like a crystalline candy shell, and it hardens. And we put the marshmallowy cream over that. And it could be a marshmallow or the high oak cream, either way. And then we stick the marshmallow goo on, like, on the inside of their egg. And then we also dump it all in maturity charm. We dump all the eggs in maturity charm. And then we see the wires connecting and popping up. Okay, so now we're creating these spider egg sacs. So all those are like little eggs, and we're going to create one bigger egg. A new Hufflepuffus Indios, and we're going to layer that. And we can Gryffindor lava charm the outside of that. Start purifying them out of Slytherin so we can help them cook out their gross stuff. And then we put Griffin blue paste on the outside of that. And then we do the lasagna. And then you might see Kelly come in with the hot pink paste and try to do the Ravenclaw lasagna. And she'll start coming in. I'm going to Ravenclaw some of those people. So this Ravenclaw lasagna is not the real one. This is just the different. It's the Gryffindor lava honeycomb with the Ravenclaw pink paste. It's the stepping stone. Okay. And then we're gonna go Hufflepuff egg, and we're gonna see 50 different layers of Hufflepuff egg magic coming on, including the golden egg with the ANR, onks, and more sunflowers, and then more cream, and then some like neon orange goo. It's a jawbreaker. And then we do the giraffe totem. And some people need the badger. Believe me. Some people are going to stay in Hufflepuff, and some people are going to go into Gryffindor or Ravenclaw. Okay. The badger is for people that were really hoed. So, and then they like clasp onto stuff. And it's a different... So the badger is also like, I'm going to keep on killing this Slytherin. I'm going to eat its head. I'm going to kill the Slytherin. I'm going to kill this. So that's the badger. It's for people that are really compressedly grounded in earth. Okay. So the energy that comes through is like this. And then we soften them up. All right. So we did a good Repello Muggleton. Repello Squibtum. Now we're going to do a good Intelligentsia. And we're going to start maybe seeing the blue charm coming through in the home, and it's starting to go anti-knife rape now. Before it was still bringing up like blades. Now it's bringing up light. Mother Andromeda is like intelligentsia. Like intelligentsia is supposed to be an elegant charm. It's like Kuan Yin. And so the idea that it would be coated with knife rape or it would bring up blades is not elegant. So we will clean it out. We don't want dirty magic around children. There's the neon orange goo that will go on the Hufflepuff egg also. And that's the no means no, but also gnomes, gnomes no. So it's a charm to remind you that the gnomes are smart. And those little humility teachings that the gnomies, like know me doing this, know me doing that, know me doing that. It's actually a form of wisdom. And gnomes have knowledge. Even if they're little creatures in the ground, they have the same level of intelligence as an archangel, perhaps, or higher. So gnomes aren't stupid. They're cute little beings that do a lot of simple, nice work. That's part of the intelligentsia grid. Now, intelligentsia on the city oak and below. And then intelligentsia on the Hufflepuff yolk. And then it will sit in that white goo and mutate. And then intelligentsia on the planet. And that starts to feel good and empowering. But do you understand why intelligentsia on the planet, if it's still bringing up blades, is classless? So we need to clean out that. Okay, we're going to do 4 layers of Protego Totalum. One on our home, city, Hufflepuff, the world. And then making sure that the pearl beads are on the intersects of each cube. So it's mostly concentrated at the home because the home got the 4th layer. And it's feeling less knife rapery. We did a lot of clearing. Now, next is going to be salviohexia. I would draw the hexagram. Salviohexia, 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 salviohexia. Another hexagram. You do a bunch of them. And then salviohexia, fourth layer out. And that should start reaching for the world shell. So it's the home, salviohexia. I just broke it down from 1 to 6. To 18. To 27. I'm pretty sure it was more than 27 for that last one. Because we're creating the honeycomb from scratch again. So you do 18, and then you do a 3 by 3 by 3, so then 9. That's 27. That's 54. But then it covers and coats. And her star going, I'm never going to leave you alone. Yeah, she's asking for it. I'm never going to stop harassing you all day long, every day for infinity. Okay, so we go the city oak. Now we do the, make sure the salviohexia goes through the full home. Then the salviohexia through the city. Lucifer and I are getting pretty excited about creating the Lucifer Hates Star comedy show, because it's gonna be like, it's gonna gonna be all the ways like Star keeps on harassing me or the dragons or a bunch of other people, and like, and that like it never ends, and it just eats up everybody's time and energy all day long forever. We already have half the script. We have a quarter of it. We have an outline. Okay, the salviohexia. Honeycomb on the Hufflepuff. And then we're going to do the salviohexia on the world. And that's probably what's purifying Star out of the astral planes. A giant global salviohexia grid. Because it erases all her magic. Because we're embracing all the black magic. I'm hearing then somebody go, can we do the gray paste next? Yes, that's a good idea. So if you want to do the gray paste or gray cake on the home, that fills in holes in the ether. And then to do it on the city oak. And then to do it on the Hufflepuff yolk. And then the world shell. Man, did that move around a lot of energy. Now, if you can get the gray paste, gray cake, to through all the micro worlds, micro lower worlds, we're good. Now, for confessors, you're going to have to do at least to 100 of the lower worlds. So it's going to be about 50 of those micro worlds on you and 5 dragons. The higher the tree you climb, the more paperwork. I can guarantee it. I'm every cop or FBI agent. Okay, so the more you have authority in any legitimate organization, the more paperwork you have to do. That's life. So just know that. Some people will do all the ANR work and they'll go, I just like doing that as a daily practice of cleaning out more stuff. Yeah. And then eventually you just get to confessor level and then you're good. Is Gray Cake a confessor dragon? No. Gracie is a confessor dragon, and she is not pearl colored or white. She is a golden dragon. There are a few that are not of the white colors. Luma is like a moonbeamer, and she's a confessor dragon. So they're not all the same. Wedding Cake is, okay, and then Time Flower is, and Time Flower is like a yellowy white with cream, and so they're not like sterile stark white. Chalk is pretty white for a dragon. That's a standard. Chalk is one of the oldest confessor dragons. And then Miracle is Jesus's dragon, and Miracle's an old dragon. So nobody even knows who Miracle is. It's like a small dragon, but like power. Okay. Looks like a kid dragon, but it's ancient. All right. So almost all the confessor dragons are girls, almost all of them, but there are a few that have exceptions, and one of them is Miracle. All right, where are we? On the spells, we just did the gray paste. On the planet, now we do the Fianto Duri on the home. Man, that sets fast and nice. Wow. And then we have the Fianto Duri bubbles with the saffron. And you can have the regular grape agate bubbles. Grape agate. The light is coming in. All right. Then you can have the Kali Pink charm and a DNA spiral around the Fianto Duri. And that gives a nice touch. Now, on the Sitio, the Fianto Duri, it's a mess. It's a sloth. The difference between the grid on your home and the difference between the grid on the city are not the same. And the Fianto Duri spell is it's gonna illustrate it. It's gonna look like if you ever watched the Guardians of the Galaxy, the one where Chris Pratt's dad is trying to take over other planets. It's gonna look like Jello going through the streets in like this disaster form. And then do it in the lower worlds. Sloth. And then try to get the saffron bubbles. And then we do it on... We start with no form or very little form, and then we build up the energy. And that's how we work. Order comes from chaos. That does not mean we bring chaos. It was already chaos. Now we're going to bring gel that will get people up, up, up. All right, now we go Hufflepuff, Fianto Duri. And there's a little less sloth because we built a thriving tower system from the Rosy Cross grid. And then we do the saffron. Saffron grape agate bubbles. And we're going to put the collie pink lily and the saffron bubbles in the central tower of our Hufflepuff yolk. And then we're going to do the Fianto Duri over the globe. And we're going to do the collie lily at each of the main points, the North Pole, South Pole, home point, and then antipodal point. And you should look at the placenta right now and see if all the spells have gone in there. And I'm just going to put a Christmas tree at the placenta. I'm going to go grow organically with time. The extra magic. Now know this. We're almost done with these main spells and we're about to do our shells very gently and quickly around the globe. We're going to do our ANR Lotus, Rose Lotus. We have a new crystal yolk temple, and almost all of the crystal yolks are from the personal, but we are going to add an extra 3 to 5 layers of the crystal yolk. So please make sure that when you're going to build the crystal yolk temple for this new setup, it's because we have new worlds that we're going to be adding crystals for. Because we're doing it from Jedi to not great. So, some of these are Yoda. These are Yoda level crystal yolks. And they're very much about purification and being able to see things more clearly. And some of them have a little more cobra acid in them. Okay, so know that ahead of time. All right. So we have our shell around the globe. Remember all the elements that we set up? So we have our egg. And we're going to porcupine from the central tower through each scale from the Hufflepuff yolk, around the tower, around the planet, or around the lotus egg, around the planet. But we're also going to porcupine through every main 1 point. So from the home, from the antipodal, from the North Pole, and from the South Pole. Now from the North Pole and the South Pole, should look like one going through the egg. And it should look like there's a giant central column that's attached. Because it's a double toroid shape. So North Pole and South Pole. And then home and antipodal. Now it's not a perfect cross, and that's okay. It's just like this. And now it's magic. So you're gonna see the porcupine spikes go through the egg, or all the scales from the North Pole and South Pole. And then it weaves a new metal mesh on the outside of the planet. And then we're going to coat that in the O-pearlescent goober jelly. But it might have a little bit of extra cobra acid charm inside this to eat through any of the excess nitrate still coming from other planets, from other Slytherin lifetimes. Now, from the home point and the antipodal point, you're going to have it porcupined through also. So you'll see cords going, or the metal wires going through from the bottom and from the top. And this is GEBURAH level. It's something to climb onto, and it's a solid anchor. And you're going to see him poke through every scale again, and then create a new metal mesh, and we're going to coat this one with black tar heroin. Now we're going to do a Gryffindor lasagna around that, around the black tar heroin. And remember, that's the Gryffindor honeycomb. That looks like orangey, lava-y in the honeycomb with some like cayenne pepper. All right. And then it's going to have the Griffin paste, Griffin blue paste in between each layer of the lava honeycomb. It's a 5-layer setup at the least. That's really to cut off the Slytherins from their higher Slytherin selves and decord them from their old programs where they're allowed to like attack you or knife rape you or like send Slytherin magic from other locations into this location. Psychos. They're psychos. They're psychos. They have 500,000 tricks and it's insane. I'm allowed to take over the moon so I can send Khaleesi knife rape when she manifests on this planet in 20,000 years. Like that. It's psycho. Look at that. That's like a reptile emanation of myself. Okay, so like now you understand Slytherin. All right. Boundary Dragon. You have to know every single one of their little tricks that they do. And then be prepared to clean it. Clear it. All right. Now we're going to do from our crux, our pole axis, how should we say? Our North Pole, our poles, our home and antipodal, and our North Pole and South Pole. So I'm going to refer to that as the world crux. It's not a cross, it's the anchor. We're going to porcupine from all 4 points of the crux out through the scales. And we're going to do the griffin red the carmine tar goo. The dark red carmine tar goo. Bring the mer magic very cleanly here too again. All right. Now, if it feels like the egg collapses and all the carmine tar just starts to fall through, it's because we needed it. It might actually fall. It collapses and falls to your feet to remind you you're a griffin. And here's your Repello Squibtum grid in a giant amount. So let's porcupine the world egg. That's a rescue. Anytime you see a collapse of energy that emanates towards your feet, that's a rescue charm, unless it's coming from a Slytherin. And then it's a trap. So, I can guarantee you that. All right. It says to build the eggshell in the brick around the globe. And then to have the porcupines go through each brick like we did before. We're going to have the 5-layered brick. And then it goes through one brick, and then it expands into many little wires that go through the brick. And then through the next layer of brick. And we have the gray paste in between, or the griffin blue paste, either or, that will go in between, maybe a mix, each layer of brick. And then it goes through the third layer of the brick, the porcupine. Mother Earth said a Gryffindor planet or better. Like, that's what she wants. Okay, through the fourth layer of brick. And through the fifth layer of brick, it starts to create like a golden light. Somebody said that mixed with the gray paste actually starts to create the fire element. That golden light mixed with the gray paste. Because that represents the spirit charm. It starts to emanate and manifest the fire. Okay. Now all those metal wires create another layer of metal mesh around the golden light. And then we put the carmine tar goo on the outside of those metal mesh wires. And then it's gonna be just coated in that phthalo green powder dust. It's just coated in it now. I've never seen so much of that phthalo dust in my life. And then it's gonna eat away at the carmine tar. And then it's gonna do that acidic bubble. And then turn it. If it turns it into a mermaid green, I'm gonna laugh. Because it's supposed to turn it into the candy apple red. Maybe that's what happens with a little bit of the powder. And with a lot of the powder, it just goes mermaid green. That mermaid green. Let's get it. Let's see if we can do another metal mesh layer out and then plug through each of the scales of the mermaid green eggshell. And then get the carmine tar red, and then we spray it with a little bit of the powder this time. And I'm hearing that's the only Netzach allowed in GEBURAH is the mermaid green. Part of the charms you need to master are the mermaid charms. Know that in life. They were in the Light Language Ho download this last year. You can find them on my Facebook. I'll be posting a lot of this stuff again, but there are a few different mermaid charms. But one of our oils for GEBURAH is myrrh. Myrrh. Okay, so the difference between a Hufflepuffer ascending into Hufflepuff after Hode and becoming violent or corrupt is usually the difference between a healthy Netzach Myrrh initiation or not. So if they have the healthy Myrrh, then they ascend into Hufflepuff in a more non-violent way. If they don't, then it becomes kind of Reaver-esque, where they might want to like shoot people or stab people when they get angry still. But with the proper Myrrh Netzach, they do much, much better. So we try to paint on, this will be part of the Hufflepuff Cook, we try to paint on the Myrrh tails onto people before we give them the full Hufflepuff Cook. That's a flowing emotional system. All right. Now we have the Carmine tar one more time. And then we throw a little bit of the phthalo green dust. Now it's just a little bit this time. And it eats into the Carmine and turns it to candy apple red. And then we're gonna have the firecracker dust on the candy apple red. And it goes, those actions or better, more. And then we have the phthalo Peruvian dust, the phthalo blue, Peruvian blue, dark blue powder dust on that outside of that egg. And it starts making our magic invisible to muggles and us invisible to muggles. Peruvian darkness powder dust. That's like saying, my kids don't even exist. Okay. You should start to feel kind of safe. And you're allowed to put that dust around your home to make it invisible for predatory people. Know that somebody like me, a confessor, or higher level people will still be able to see, or dragons, because we're using infrared all day long, but the majority of people can't. Most of the time, I'm only seeing so I can make sure to ascendio your children and make sure that their DNA evolves. Stuff like that. Make sure that your home is gridded well. Okay. Next, we're going to get our ANR Rose Lotus. And we're going to stick it in the home. And we're just going to see it all over the planet. And some of you guys want the peonies also, because the peonies feel really good. But we need our seraphim activations on a world scale. Now, make sure your ANR Rose Lotus is on the other side of the planet too. And you see him, it's just raining ANR Rose Lotuses through the... That's real Tantra magic. God. So it'll be very packed at your home, through the underworld. Make sure it gets in the underworld and the micro underworlds, the micro worlds. And you'll see the little gnomes giving each other the ANR Lotus. It's kind of cute. It's really cute, actually. They might even create a garden in micro lower worlds where they're growing that rose. And they'll be growing peonies. Just remember the garden gnomes, like, they'll take the micro lower worlds and the underworld and start to create gardens instead of hell realms. Gross. It's like soil with like grass and like and like peonies and like butterflies and stuff instead of demons. Do you understand? No. Do you understand how demented we were? Gross. Lucifer knows. Lucifer's like, that stuff's nasty. All right. Okay. So we're going to paint our final layer with the peach peony, the ever unfolding peach peony around the globe, and then little peonies are now emanating through the air all around the globe for good sexual healing and for healthier astral energy through every world. And it's layer upon layer upon layer upon layer upon layer, more layers, layer, layer, peony. And you may start to see it underneath your feet. And then we're good. All right. The spells, shells, and the ANR Rose Lotus. Kali Ren out.